Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 421 to 424 for the 20th to 23rd of April. Sorry for the SITREP to actually span across 4 days because celebrating my wife's birthday. So yeah, the schedule's just messed up. Yeah, plus I went to do Sudan and then run out of time. So anyway, let's start off with Prigozhin's statement. This one I have covered in the Ukrainian quick update. It will be published on the DPA main channel in around 5-6 hours time, I guess. Yeah, I kind of schedule it so that it doesn't eat into the quick update on the Bakhmut front. So anyway, the Prigozhin says that the ground condition is very bad at this moment. It's still very muddy, and even pickup trucks cannot really pass through, which is talking about Humvees. So they cannot even pass through the fields, not to mention trucks and heavy equipment or tanks. So the soil still need 10 more days to dry out. 10 more days means the early May. So the Ukrainian main major offensive is not going to happen until early May, at least according to the ground conditions. And moving on to the Avdiivka front. So Avdiivka front, there is fighting reported as usual in the similar regions. We have fighting reported west of Novobakhmutivka on the 21st, 22nd, and on the 23rd. However, Ryba reported that the Ukrainians did try to counterattack along the highway region on the 23rd. However, this is not corroborated by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Reinforcement has been reported at Karamik on the 22nd as well as at Novokalunovy. So the Ukrainian forces are trying to hold this position. And the fact that they did send reinforcement into Karamik and Novokalunovy does suggest that there is losses being taken in this area, that they need to continue to hold, send in more forces and reserve to hold this position as the Russian forces continue to try to push in this area here. And like I said before, I find the Russians' attacks very unsincere. They don't feel, I don't feel like they are very sincere about taking Karamik or Novokalunovy. It feels like they are just there to grind the Ukrainian forces rather than actually try to capture ground. It's just the kind of feeling that I get from reading all the reports. Fighting is reported at Stepove on the 21st. This Stepove, previously the Russians have actually captured this a long time ago, and then they got pushed back by the Ukrainians, and then they fall back, and the front line continued to hold around here. So very few fighting is being reported around this area here. And there's fighting reported at Kayamka on the 20th of April, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. We did not hear much about Kayamka as well. On the western part of Avdiivka, there is fighting reported northwest of Vodian, according to the pro-Russian source, Ryba. And they say that it was being stormed with support of artillery. Not sure. They captured, I think, two fortified positions. I believe the entire area here is all trenches. Like all these areas are all trenches. I will seek out no satellite images without paying money to verify all this information. Because satellite imaging is very expensive. So no, yeah, I don't earn enough to get satellite images. So anyway, there is fighting reported at Pervomaisky on the 20th and on the 23rd. In between, there is no fighting on the 22nd or the 21st, which suggests that the fighting here is actually very low intensity. And fighting is also reported at Nevelsky and also in the north and the south. Information first coming from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 20th, and on the 21st, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry continued to report the fighting at Nevelsky. And then it was finally picked up by Surya Maps on the 22nd, talking about the fighting in the northeast and in the south of Nevelsky. So the fighting is still ongoing. Geolocation by Deep State UA of Russian forces at this position south of Nevelsky, which corroborated the fighting in this area, that the Russian forces is indeed pushing in the southern part. And as you can see, this area is really flat. It's really not very conducive in terms of infantry warfare. And that's all from the Avdiivka front. Moving on into the Marinka region, And the Marinka region, we have fighting in the north of Marinka in over the past 24 hours, as well as in the middle of Marinka. Fighting ongoing for all 4 days, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Information coming from Ukrainian Defense Ministry and then Ryba, mostly by Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Fighting is reported at Boyeda as well, with the Russian forces pushing in this area, despite the push mainly is in the middle, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 20th. It was not repeated, so it isn't really something major. Geolocation of Russian forces at this position, so which is also why the pro-Ukrainian side, their front line actually looks like this, and not like what I have mapped for the Russian side. So we'll continue to monitor to see where exactly the front line is. And there is fighting reported at Novo Mikhailivka on the 23rd of April, which is the past 24 hours. In the Voleda region, there is some actions. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 20th and on the 21st claims that the Russians are attacking in the Voleda area. Details we do not know, because no one else actually reported that the Russians are on the attack. The Russians, however, the Russian Defense Ministry, however, did report shelling in the Voleda region on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. All 4 days, they are consistently shelling the Ukrainian forces all over the Voleda region. And shelling is also reported at Pelivka on the 23rd, as well as the Ukrainian forces are trying to attack on the 20th and 22nd. So maybe there is Ukrainian forces moving towards Pelivka or gathering around the area, and then they got shelled consistently. So it's not easy for the Ukrainians to deal with the situation around here, just as it is quite difficult for the Russians to capture Voleda. To the west, there is shelling reported at Preshestivka on the 21st. On the 20th, there was a Russian attack reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So I think these are related. So maybe the Ukrainians reported that the Russians are attacking, but the Russians actually is simply shelling rather than attacking in the ground offensive. So because the Russian Defense Ministry's report is always on a midday, so I cannot write this as 20th. So it's always in the middle of the day, so I have to put it on 21st. So maybe this information is talking about the things happening on the 20th, so which is actually corroborating what the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is reporting. Shelling is reported in the area of Novodonetsk, reported by the Russian Defense Ministry yesterday, and that's all from the Donetsk front. Moving into the Zaporizhia region, we have a lot of shelling, but first we talk about the Ukrainians trying to probe the area of Malinivka on the 20th and on the 23rd. The Ukrainians continue to try to move, try to probe the Russian lines around this area, I guess, and the Russian forces simply just shell them. So that's what happened, or they destroyed them. Maybe there's some Russian lines. Previously, we have a report from January 20th January that the Russian forces have taken the high ground south of Malinivka and created some stronghold or defensive position around here. So maybe the Ukrainians are trying to probe these lines, and then they got destroyed. Perhaps, not too sure. And there is a lot of shelling reported at Belohia on the 22nd, Shovony on the 21st, and then there's shelling reported at Vremivka on the 22nd, Shevchenko on the 20th, and Velika Novoselka on the 20th. All this information from the Russian Defense Ministry. And do also take note that this is not the only shelling that is happening along the front lines. These are only the specific ones that is being mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry. If you look at the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, they basically write one long list of location names, which I'm not going to put them in because it will just clutter the entire map. So the Russian ones, because it's deliberately mentioned, so I believe maybe it is indicative of certain actions. The Ukrainian ones, they are just saying that on their positions they are getting shelled, but along the entire front line it's always shelling, so it's not very meaningful. Another interesting thing that had happened was around the Kherson city, the Ukrainian forces actually crossed the river and landed near Dachi, the town of Dachi. And previously, they have already captured this area just at south of the center of Kherson. So this is just another probing, or they're just trying to secure more territory around the Kherson city. And the Russian forces do not operate in this area here. The Russians are not here. So the Russians simply just shell this area if they detected Ukrainian activities with their drones. So but it is pretty near to Oleshki, which the Russians do indeed have positions in. So yeah, maybe the Ukrainians are trying to hold a position here to push down. There is a bridge over here, but as usual, this is just one bridge. It's not going to be very easy for the Ukrainians to cross. Anyway, moving away from the Kherson region, we go into Sevastopol. There is in the latest information that there is some kind of a surface drone attack. There's a security camera footage showing some explosion at the port area. I believe these are naval drones because they use the word surface drones. It's supposedly trying to attack the Black Sea Fleet. However, the word they use is shot down. Maybe the translation some problem. This is reported by the United 24. This news is also reported by pro-Russian sources. So far, no additional details just yet. I believe the Russian Defense Ministry will address this. We shall wait for the information in the next SITREP. Moving on into the Sivers front. At the Sivers front, there is previously there was attack at Bilohorivka by the Russians. They moved into this area here, and the Ukrainians counter-attack and managed to push them back, recapturing the grounds, the areas that they have lost. So previously, the Russian forces have captured this area here. So the Ukrainians have counter-attacked this area. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. The information coming from Deep State UA. Previously, the Russian attack was reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russian Defense Ministry reported a lot of shelling in this area here at Serebranka 20th, 21st, and 22nd, Horivka 21st and 23rd. And so previously I mentioned I'm not sure about Sivers Mali. So I believe that this is actually Sivers Mali. This small little town over here. As you can see, this town over here, this is Sivers Mali. Mali means small or tiny or little. So Sivers is actually here. So what happened is that I look at Yandex mapping, Yandex map. They actually show Sivers to be like this. So, and then there is a break apart here. This is Sivers. So I believe that this actually is referring to Sivers Mali. This is actually referring to Sivers Mali. This is Sivers. So I think this is why you cannot really find a map of a location called Sivers Mali, because it's actually part of Sivers, but it's just small and far away. And shelling is being reported at this location. Previously, there was a report of pontoon bridge destroyed at Sivers Mali. So yeah, the pontoon crossing probably around this area here. And in the south of Sperne, the Russian forces seems to have captured the gas compressor station. So there is this compressor station. In the real world, this entire thing has already been entirely destroyed and flattened. And apparently the forces here is the Chechen forces. The Chechens finally reappeared. This is actually shown in the video that was then geolocated by Deep State UA to be at this area here. So the Chechen forces is actually now operating in the Sivers region, in the Sivers front. And Deep State UA then reported that the compressor station was captured. So this is actually a very recent news. The Russian forces taken this position, and the Chechens are back. So Ahmad Sila, and let's see how this go. And I believe, yeah, that's all from the Sivers front. And in the Crimea front, there is a lot of shelling being reported at Yampil on the 20th, Dibrova on the 21st, 23rd, Terny on the 23rd, and near Sheveno-Popivka on the 21st to 22nd, Nevsky on the 22nd and the 23rd. There is previously I mentioned according to Surya Maps there was this salient that was being like the Ukrainians attacked and captured this location, and he seems to suggest this probably based on some geolocation. It seems to be inaccurate. They have Surya Maps have backtracked. They said that the Russian forces have managed to recapture all this place. That was lost 5 days ago. I think this is just wrong. I don't think this counterattack actually exists at all. Because you don't lose and recapture 3 kilometers of ground so easily. So I think it was just a misreporting from Surya Maps based on the geolocation that was probably pretty old. Probably came before the Russian forces managed to retake all the way to the border of Luhansk Donetsk. So I think, yeah, so this actually is probably not right. So anyway, there is geolocation of Russian forces in this location in Shevno-Popivka, and not very significant, just to show that the Russians are here. And in the Dibrova region, the Ukrainians launched an attack on Dibrova, or probing attack on the 22nd. It's not sustained, so there's nothing much there. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported fighting in the Serebransky forestry on the 20th. So other than that, it doesn't really have anything more. And that's all from the Crimea front. So moving into the Svatove and Kupiansk front, a lot of blue markers, as you can see. So I go through the shelling first. The Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Vyholivka near Vorishny on the 22nd. Vyholivka is on the 22nd, Vorishna on the 23rd, Masyutivka on the 20th, and then shelling at Sinkivka on the 20th, Peshotravnevi on the 21st and 23rd, Zagorovkovka on the 23rd, Timkovka on the 21st, Kotelivka on the 23rd, Kromani on the 20th, Novoselivki on the 20th and on the 22nd, Stemekivka on the 20th and on the 21st, and Andriivka on the 22nd. So we got that out of the way. We have Ukrainian probing along all the way. We have probing on the 20th on Andriivka. Stemekivka see the attack on the 21st and on the 22nd. Novoselivki on the 21st, Berestove on the 23rd, Kromani on the 23rd. You can see that the probing is coming, all over the place, and they are just probing here and there. It's not all on the same day, because this is a sit rep for the 4 days. And there was on the 23rd probing on Kaiserlivka. Timkovka also see probing on the 20th and on the 23rd. Sinkivka is the one that is more sustained. It seems like an offensive of sort. 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The Ukrainians are consistently trying to, attack in the area of Sinkivka. And I believe that they are just trying to, I think this is actually a proper offensive. They are trying to capture the forest region around this area here, because the Russian forces actually have a position in the forest area here, and this actually can threaten Sinkivka. They probably use this position to attack Sinkivka, and I think which is why I think the Ukrainians are trying to attack out of this area to provide some kind of a safety zone. So which is why this is actually sustained. If you compare this to the probings from other places, there is fighting reported at Liman Pershi on the 21st. However, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported the Russians are actually the one attacking on the 21st as well. These two are repeated. So both sides are talking about the each other are fighting in Liman Pershi on the 21st. And yeah, that's all from the Kupiansk Svatove front. And interestingly, there isn't any Ukrainian aircraft getting shot down over the past 4 days. So after that disastrous day on the 19th, where on the 19th report that 4 aircraft got shot down, there's no more aircraft getting shot down. So that's actually probably good news for the Ukrainian side. However, the Ukrainians haven't shot down any Russian planes for a long time. So moving on to the very last one, which is the Bakhmut front. So I have done a Bakhmut quick update on the main channel. You can go and check it out. It will go into more details. There is geolocation of Russian forces at this position by Deep State UA near Krychorivka. There is reinforcement reported at Krychorivka on the 23rd. Shelling is being reported on the 23rd, with the Russian forces attacking this area from 21st to the 23rd, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So there is this. It looks like there is a concerted push to capture Krychorivka right now, probably by the airborne forces of Russia. There is shelling reported at Kalinina and Bodanivka on the 20th and 22nd. Kalinina is actually on the 23rd. So you can see that the shelling is first at Bodanivka, and then they started to shell Kalinina, which means that the Ukrainians probably are getting shelled to quite some bad extent, that now the Russians are shelling the rear. Reinforcement is reported at Bodanivka on the 23rd, which actually might corroborate this information, that the shelling seems to suggest that the Ukrainian forces is suffering quite big losses, that they need to actually start to reinforce Bodanivka due to the casualties from the shelling. Especially, there is also fighting reported on the 21st and on the 23rd, with the Russians are pushing for Bodanivka. So all this shelling and attacking is causing the need for reinforcement. The shelling is also reported in the rear in Chasivya on the 21st, Mykolivka on the 22nd, Stuposhki on the 20th, Proteshny on the 21st. So a lot of shelling all the way on the rear positions of the Ukrainians. So there is also very, very heavy fighting in this area here. If you go and check out the quick update, I already showed the satellite imaging over there. That actually explains these new icons, these new entrenchment icons here. So tentatively, the entrenchment in this area here is actually under Russian control, which actually corroborates the updates about the Russians are making progress in this area here. And the geolocation of by Deep State UA suggests this is confirmed. And fighting is still ongoing in this area as the Ukrainians still continue to hold entrenchment in these two parts. The Ukrainians actually holding this part here as well as this part here. So the Russians are holding this area here, and the Russians are still trying to penetrate and capture this entire area. The fighting is ongoing from the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So you can see all 4 days fighting is being reported in this area by Raiba, Suryamap, Deep State UA, and this actually shows how heavy the fighting is. The Deep State UA and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, I believe. No, it's all Deep State UA. So Deep State UA reported fighting along Kromove for all 4 days. I'm not sure if this is actually the same thing as this one, or the Russians are actually attacking Kromove itself. This one is unclear. I suspect that they might be related. And over at Ivaniski, is also getting shelled on the 20th and on the 21st. With 22nd, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported the Russians went into the offensive, and on the 23rd. So it seems to line up pretty well. The Russian Defense Ministry reported the shelling on these 2 days, and then they started attacking after the shelling has stopped. So maybe this is how it looks like. And moving into the Bakhmut city itself, there is updates. Pro-Ukrainian sources, the mapping has now moved to this line after they refused to update the lines of the Russian progress in this area here for many days. And fighting is reported, however, before they changed. Deep State UA was reporting fighting at Rose Alley still on the 20th, despite on the 19th we have already moved the front line all the way here. So there was also fighting reported near the school number 3 by Deep State UA on the 22nd. So you can see that the change is actually pretty recent. And then fighting was reported south of the reservoir, according to Raiba, as Raiba mapping still was around here. And fighting is now reported in the northwest Bakhmut around this area here. moving into some Olympic school or something. Yeah, very close to the Olympic school. The Olympic school is actually around here. There's fighting reported near Crimea Street by Deep State UA on the 22nd as they start to update their map closer to where the pro-Russian sources and neutral sources are reporting. And then Rybar is reporting fighting in the garage area. So the Russian forces is now trying to storm the garage area. However, this area is very fortified by the Ukrainians, so it's not going to be easy. There is a counterattack reported west of the grain elevator on the 20th, but it was not successful, as we can also see from the front line that the front line have not changed. In the western part of the train station, first there was fighting reported in the southwest of the railway station on the 20th. However, by the 22nd, the Russian forces have captured these high buildings west of Bakhmut railway station, and then the mapping of the Ukrainians actually changed to what we are seeing now, and Surya maps corroborated the information, or probably copied the information from Deep State UA, showing the fighting is now at the Polevaya Street. So the front line now looks like this, and this is actually based on the pro-Ukrainian mapping. So this is not Russian propaganda. This is Ukrainian anti-propaganda, I guess. And geolocation of Ukrainian forces is actually at this position according to Chris 759. So this geolocation actually do seem to suggest how the front line is actually pretty close there. So yeah, and in the south of it there is some progress as well, with the Russian forces being reportedly fighting at Praihoria Skovorody Lane, and then the front line also changed a bit, with the Russian forces making a little bit of progress around this area. Fighting is still reported along the road on the 22nd according to Surya maps. And in the southwest, fighting is still ongoing, with the Russians trying to reach Tchaikovsky Street. So far, according to the Ukrainian side, the Russians still have not succeeded in reaching the Tchaikovsky Street. This salient here might not exist, so might not be the one, might not still here now. I think it probably have failed, and the Ukrainians have recaptured it. And yeah, I believe I covered everything. So this is the Bakhmut front, and that's all. I believe I covered everything. So this is the summary for the day of 20th to 23rd of April. If you are new to this channel, subscribe. And for the DPA Army, you know what to do. Strike the like button, and I'll see you in the next update.